Hey there friends and enemies, Joker here again, and today I wanted to give my first impressions of the Diablo 4 beta after playing it an absolute ton this weekend. I got to level 25 on my sorceress, did a bunch of dungeons, beat the first world boss, I was able to knock out a stronghold as well, and complete the main story quest that was available. Overall, I'm very excited. There's a lot of reasons to be stoked about full release of the game. I might even jump back in and play the Druid this weekend with a buddy. And yeah, the game felt very, very good overall. I do have some mild concerns that I am going to get into, but first the good. You'll see in the background gameplay that I am knocking out one of the strongholds. I do really like this loop of essentially an overworld dungeon that you defeat, and then you're able to unlock that area. You unlock new dungeons, a fast travel point, all this kind of good stuff. It gives you incentive to take them on and a reason to do that, and I really like them. I think that's a good change in addition to Diablo 4 that I'm very excited about. It's one of the types of content that I personally am a big fan of. Then the world bosses. Oh, I am very stoked to take on these world bosses. Seeing a bunch of people get together, knowing that while you can't defeat it yourself, you can help carry a squad. Like say you are there with a couple lower level people, like we were able to beat it with some level like 17s and 18s. So it's not like you had to be max level to take it on. And if you missed that, I did post a video of my full clear of the world boss, so definitely check that out. I'll link it in the description down below. But that is very fun for me. Visually, the cutscenes, the cinematics, all those are absolute fire. You would expect that from a Diablo game, but they are just next level good. The opening cinematic is probably one of my favorites in video game history. It is so very good. The dungeons did get a bit repetitive, however they were still good, and I'll have to wait and see how some of the other region dungeons feel, you know, if they change up the way you defeat a dungeon. I don't care for the fact that you have to go gather a bunch of things in random places, put them in a slot, and then once you do that, then you unlock the next area before you eventually take on the boss. I wish there was a way to bypass that or not have it feel repetitive in that nature, but that's just something that is a personal preference of mine. Otherwise, the dungeons feel like Diablo dungeons. Again, I hope they're more varied going forward, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I did love the fact that we saw other random players in the open world. I thought that was great on top of the world bosses. I know that's an MMO-like aspect that some people are not going to care for, but me personally, I am a social gamer, so that's why Diablo 4 is definitely a game that is made for me specifically and what I like to do, in that I have the option to beat everything solo besides maybe like world bosses and stuff like that, but I can also meet other players out in the wild. We can take on world bosses. I can make new friends and maybe link up to go into dungeons with them. I would even like to see it taken a step farther to where you can almost matchmake dungeons or matchmake some of this other content. I think that would be a lot of fun, but as of now, I'm comfortable with what we have, and it is a nice step in the right direction for me as someone who would like to see more social gaming aspects. We haven't been able to check out the mounts yet, but that sounds like it's going to be a great addition, especially when the exploration, if that gets a little stale. But you are able to traverse the map pretty easily, so I don't think that will be much of a worry. I will be excited to take on the different areas with the mounts and see how that does help out as far as traveling the different areas. So that is very exciting. Again, a lot of MMO-like aspects in this game that I personally am going to enjoy. So other than that, the story was pretty solid. Nice twists and turns so far. I think we have a lot of reasons to believe that this is going to be an absolutely insane story, which not everyone cares about. Some people are all about the loot, and that's fair, but I do think that it's going to be a very good story and one that I'll be happy to replay a couple times. As far as the character classes, Sorceress felt absolutely insane. It felt so good. Like I could just put down a Fire Hydra, I could toss my ultimate ability and just absolutely wreck everything. It felt really, really strong, especially the ability where you're able to basically speed turret your basic attack, and so that felt really nice. I didn't get a chance to play Rogue, but I saw some footage of some people playing doing absolutely insane things with the rogue as well. So those two feel really, really good. And range combat specifically feels awesome, especially against bosses. One of the downsides, the melee combat feels like it's lacking just a tad. And I hope that once we have everything unlocked and in the later stages, the barbarian will feel really good. Or if you want to go on melee druid, that'll feel really good. I don't want it to be all skullcasters really dominating and being the absolute strongest, because I do think a strong melee meta is good for the game overall, having that as an option. And so we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I know the developers have come out and said that essentially how the characters feel from levels 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 will all evolve over time. So a barbarian at the max level might feel a lot stronger compared to what he feels like now, instead of kind of being overshadowed by the other character classes. So I do hope that's the case, because I think the classes don't have to be necessarily perfectly balanced. I think there's always going to be some that are just slightly better than others, but I hope they do make it so that over time, like the sorceress is dominant to start, then later on the druid or the barbarian or somebody is super strong. Maybe they get a seasonal aspect that's really, really good. I don't know. That's what I would personally like to see, and hope that that's what ends up happening, because we'll see. I mean, balancing these games is hard, and once we get our hands on a bunch of the end game gear and we see how strong everybody is and the kind of insane builds, I've seen it with other MMOs and also like looter shooters and stuff like that, where the things that are really strong initially and look really cool don't always pan out as the absolute meta, absolute strongest once you have your hands on everything in the game. And once you're able to test some builds, there might be some builds for the barbarian that are actually absolutely broken, and we just don't know about them yet. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out. But those are some of the more mild concerns. I'm not really terribly nervous about anything in the game so far. I think it is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where the game is heading, because there's just so much potential and there's so much excitement around it for me personally. Like I said, I'll probably dive back in this weekend, even though I've done everything. One, because a friend of mine wants to run, and two, because I'm enjoying the game that much, and we have so long, I'm not really at risk of burning myself out. They also announced that the beta is you're gonna see meaningful changes from the beta into the main game once it does fully launch, which is very exciting, and they're treating it as a full beta and not just like a advertising platform, so that's good. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Nothing too crazy, but I wanted to get them out there and really start diving into the world of Diablo as far as builds and all that kind of stuff here shortly. But anyway, my name is Jopa. I hope you have a good one. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm on the road to partner. I definitely hope to hit it at some point this year, and I would appreciate all the support. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.